Good evening, I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Tonight, a somber tribute to Canada's fallen.
She's a bright, bright light, and she's going to be terribly, terribly missed.
Public mourning at a distance, remembering the 6 members killed in a helicopter crash.
I'm Andrew Chang. Also tonight, Canada may be flattening the curve, but not everywhere.
A lot of people are very scared.
Why the virus is so hard to control in northern Saskatchewan and pushing hospitals to their limits in parts of Montreal. BC allows small gatherings in time for the May long weekend.
Today, we take our first steps.
Backyard barbecues, family gatherings, even hugs will be allowed.
I heard duck sounds.
A birthday story for baby Archie, but how are his famous parents navigating a non-royal life? This is The National. At CFB Trenton today in Eastern Ontario, a solemn ceremony to honor 6 Canadian Armed Forces members killed in last week's helicopter crash off the coast of Greece.
There have been many repatriation ceremonies before, but not one like this. The pandemic that's changed so much in our lives has changed the way we deal with death too. But the grief and the dignity with which these 6 were honored today, that much is familiar. Kayla Hounsell shows us the tributes.
It was a repatriation ceremony unlike any Canada has seen before. Dignitaries wearing masks to protect one another from COVID-19. And in the shadow of the aircraft, 6 hearses, although there is only one body, Sub-Lieutenant Abigail Cobra. Her brother is also in the military.
I lost a sister by blood, but I also lost a sister in the forces.
As he made the trip to CFB Trenton, he recalled his last conversation with his sister.
I would always say I love you at the end, so it kind of proves even more that every person you talk to that's meaningful to you, you should always end the phone call with an I love you or kiss and a hug when you see them.
Cobra's grandmother, unable to make the trip, watched the ceremony from home.
We're very proud and happy that we have Abby home. She's a bright, bright light, loved by so many people.
The other 5 are still missing and presumed deceased after the helicopter crash 1 week ago. Their service hats carried by colleagues from HMCS Fredericton. Their families given time to pay their respects.
There isn't a day goes by that I don't think about them and continue to mourn with them.
So many mourn with them. Sub-Lieutenant Matthew Pike, honored by his friend's mother today.
My son is on the Fredericton Alley, and I'm here in respect for him and for all of his shipmates because Matthew was his friend, it was his roommate, they trained together, this was their first deployment. We are so proud of them, they are all heroes.
The ceremony was followed by a procession along the Highway of Heroes, 1 hearse for each life lost. For Abigail Cobra's grandmother, it was important to say their names.
Captain Brendan Ian MacDonald, Captain Kevin Hagan, Captain Maxime Moran, Sub-Lieutenant Matthew Pike, Master Corporal Matthew Cousins, and Sub-Lieutenant Abigail Cobra. Thank you for your service. Rest in peace.
Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Halifax.
Now, in the past, people crowded overpasses and streets to stand with motorcades as they traveled to Toronto. But today, like at the ceremony itself, a very different look. Fewer people, further apart. The Department of National Defence had asked people not to gather because of COVID-19 and to practice physical distancing if they did.
The need for that continued discipline is underscored by today's reported cases. The total number of Canadian infections is now more than 63,000, with more than 4,300 deaths. Once again today, Quebec was the worst-hit province on both counts. In Montreal alone, there were 451 new cases. That's more than in all of Ontario. That constant pulse of cases already has some Montreal area hospitals operating near capacity. Alison Northcott explains why they're so worried about a flood of cases from a reopened economy.
Preparations are underway to turn this hockey arena into a treatment center for up to 50 COVID-19 patients and ease the burden on a nearby hospital. But with a critical shortage of healthcare workers, there are already concerns about staffing it.
What we're scared of is we won't have enough employee to fulfill their demands.
It's one of the issues the healthcare system is facing. As the number of confirmed cases in and around Montreal climbs, hospital resources are getting stretched.
Our wiggle room margin, so to speak, in all hospitals in Montreal has decreased over the past couple of weeks.
He says there are a few reasons for that, including people returning to ERs for non-COVID issues who had stayed away out of fear earlier in the crisis. He worries what will happen if businesses and schools in Montreal reopen later this month as planned.
We have some room, but not much room to absorb a potential surge of patients.
The province says it's working to free up space, and that includes transferring some patients to other regions.
There are some patients in the hospitals right now, COVID-19 patients, who don't require necessarily to be in the hospital, and other patients also that have other physical problems that could go out of the hospital.
They're using our beds as hotel.
This ER doctor says in some cases, long-term care residents are not being sent back home once they recover from COVID-19, and that has a ripple effect.
It's been backtracking and building up. Now we're talking about 3 weeks of building up, and the hospitals are full. We need to find another place for those patients.
He says the province needs to act quickly to fix the backlog, to ensure hospitals have room for an influx in patients. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
Saskatchewan saw 25 new cases of COVID-19 today. That's a small number compared to Quebec, but these latest cases confirm a worrying trend. Just look at where the province's 194 active cases are. Only 20 are in the south, around Regina and Saskatoon. The rest, 174 cases, are in the north, part of an outbreak around the remote Indigenous communities of La Loche and Clearwater River Dene Nation. Now, that's got public health officials concerned that an already vulnerable population is now at even greater risk. Bonnie Allen now with the push to contain and stop the virus.
It's not easy to get in or out of La Loche right now. There are checkpoints on the highway, plus a curfew and security patrols to convince people to stay inside their homes.
Things weren't put into place right away when we needed it.
Amanda Black tested positive for COVID-19. So did her 6-year-old son and her parents. She's happy restrictions have been put in place, but worries it's not enough to control the spread.
It scares people, but it doesn't scare them enough to stay home. Even before the COVID happened, we were considered the town that never sleeps.
This outbreak traces back to an oil sands camp in northern Alberta. It moved into a long-term care home in La Loche, killing 2 elders, then infiltrated other Indigenous communities. Leonard Montgrand represents Métis people in the area.
We're trying to make a strong change. We have, I'd say, about 80% of the community buying into the program. However, that remaining 20% out there, that's the difficult part. You know, a lot of people are addicted to substance abuse and they're dealing with their own social issues.
There's a lot of anxiety.
The mayor of La Loche says mobile units and RV campers will shelter homeless people and serve as isolation units for people who live in overcrowded homes.
We want to contain it, so we go to a household that has more than 8 people, let's just say, then that person would potentially infect those other ones.
Ashton Janvier says people are scared but resilient.
There's also a lot of positivity and a lot of Facebook Live prayers that are shared to get people, more in a positive vibe.
That includes convincing people to get tested. The plan is aggressive, both drive-through testing and going door to door. The premier has said they will test the entire community if that's what people want. Bonnie Allen, CBC News, Regina.
Unlike northern Saskatchewan, BC has seen a declining number of cases, and today the premier unveiled plans for reopening its economy. The easing of restrictions will be gradual, but as Renee Filipponi explains, BC is going further than many other provinces.
It's a glimpse at their future many British Columbians have been waiting for.
I'm saying we have a plan to move to what will be the new normal, and we're going to be taking guidance along the way from British Columbians.
Expanding social circles is top of the agenda. Small dinner parties or barbecues with fewer than 6 people by Victoria Day long weekend. Even hugs will be okay, as long as no one is showing symptoms.
We're not prescribing to British Columbians who they interact with and how they interact with them, but people have to make those choices.
BC has successfully flattened its curve, with the number of new cases trending downward. Virtually all sectors of the economy will start to reopen, as long as there is an approved plan to do it safely, with physical distancing and personal hygiene measures. The coming weeks will see a return of elective surgeries and other medical services like dentistry, physio, and massage therapy. Personal services like hair salons will be able to reopen. Restaurants could also be serving soon, though no date has been set.
So basically we'll have a walkway here.
This restaurant owner says he wants to move carefully.
I don't want to open full force, bring all my staff, opening all my shift, etc. To possibly shut down in 2 weeks or 3 weeks if we have another wave of COVID.
For now, there is little detail on what's next for schools, only that there won't be a full return until September. If infections remain low, hotels, resorts, and some overnight camping would open in June. The film industry could start back up. Even movie theaters would be an option this summer with fewer than 50 people. And until there is a vaccine or a successful treatment, there will be no large gatherings. That means no concerts and no sitting in the stands to cheer on your favorite sports team. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, Vancouver.
The city of Toronto is also moving towards loosening some restrictions.
We have started to shift from encouraging people to stay home as much as possible to encouraging people to keep their distance.
Mayor John Tory announced a plan to create more space for pedestrians and cyclists on city streets by shutting down some 50 kilometers of roads to all but local traffic. Officials urge those enjoying the outdoors to still keep their distance. Provincially, Ontario says it is moving forward with maybe cautious optimism and will be easing some restrictions in the coming days.
As of Monday, May the 11th at 12:01 a.m., retail stores with a street entrance will be allowed to provide curbside pickup.
Garden centers and nurseries will also be open for business ahead of Mother's Day this weekend, so will hardware stores. All will have to ensure physical distancing and proper public health measures are in place. So how and where we work has changed since the start of the pandemic, and as we move towards reopening, those changes are far from over. Aaron Saltzman looks at some of the ways workspaces will have to adapt to keep employees safe.
To get a sense of what Canada's workplaces may look like, look to other countries ahead of the curve, like Italy, where they've installed traffic lights for washrooms. Green means go, literally. They've already passed temperature checks to get into the building. Once inside, a smartphone app monitors if they're within 1.5 meters of someone else for more than 15 seconds. It's not a tool to spy on us, this worker says. It may be a little less Big Brother in Canada, but experts say workplaces here will also see big changes.
We started the 6 Feet Office project.
This global real estate firm is suggesting one-way hallways, desks with plexiglass dividers, workers using disposable pads to limit hard surface contact and allow for easier cleaning. Shared areas like lounge space may need to be booked in advance. Elevators will be limited to just a few people per ride, which could mean long queues in high-rise towers. But that would be mitigated by a gradual return to work, starting with perhaps 2 or 3 days a week in the office, and alternating those days between co-workers.
Many of these measures could stay in place until there's a viable vaccine or a treatment. That could mean working from home in some form or another for months or possibly even years. For some, the change could even be permanent.
A lot of companies are now seeing that it is possible to still be efficient while a lot of their employees are not in the office.
That could have an effect on commercial property values.
If that's 20 or 30% of the population working from home, certainly that will soften demand on real estate.
But even with fewer people inside, she says, offices will likely need more space to keep people separate. Either way, return to work may never truly be return to normal. Aaron Saltzman, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, it's not just businesses, but employees preoccupied right now with how to return to workplaces safely. Christine Birak with the anxiety some are feeling just with the thought of going back.
Ellen Schultz feels cut off from her family. She's tired of living in a bubble. But like many dental hygienists, she's also worried about going back to work.
Some nights I can't fall asleep and I'll wake up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning thinking about it. It seems the closer I get, the more anxious I get.
A recent survey found a quarter of Canadians want to return to their regular work schedule. The rest prefer to work from home more often or only go into work when needed.
I think it's probably majority of us, if not all of us, have a certain degree of worry or anxiety.
Doctors say most of us have the same questions. Is it safe to go back to work? Does my employer have the right protocols and equipment to keep me safe? And could going into work end up affecting my loved ones?
I think it's important to open up those discussions, normalize those reactions, and say, let's hear about those concerns.
I can't find any masks anywhere.
Esthetician Catherine Hay runs her own business. She can stagger appointments, but treatments are often face-to-face. She's not sure how to manage the risk of asymptomatic spread.
I'm really hoping to get some guidelines from some experts on what to do.
The question, I think, at this moment is, what is acceptable risk here? And I think that goalpost is shifting.
Is that all right? Leading experts say employees can do a basic risk calculation based on their age and underlying health conditions. But it's up to public health officials to figure out how to keep society safe.
Guidance that comes centrally from the government that is entrusted with the public good is where we should be.
The dental office where Schultz works has an infection control plan, but she'd sleep better knowing she doesn't have to go back until all public health officials agree that it's safe. Christine Burak, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, a sense of relief for hospital staff in Newfoundland and Labrador after dozens of COVID-19 test results came back negative. At least 100 staff at the Health Sciences Centre in St. John's were forced into self-isolation after having contact with a positive patient over the weekend. So far, all but one has now tested negative.
The effort to bring back thousands of Canadians in countries locked down by the pandemic is far from over. And despite some hard work by government staff and the help of foreign airlines, Ashley Burke tells us some have found it a bumpy ride.
To practice social distancing.
Canadian officials call it the biggest peacetime repatriation in history. And almost 2 months in, it's still in full swing.
I'm happy that I come back here, finally.
These passengers were on the 21st flight from India. More than 20,000 Canadians remain registered there under complete lockdown.
I was mentally sick there. Just want to see my kids and just try to come back as soon as possible.
Let me be clear. If you're abroad, it's time for you to come home.
Since that message in March, hundreds of thousands of Canadians traveled home on their own. But as borders closed and flights were canceled, Canadians were left stranded. Government employees became full-time travel agents.
In the 2 weeks in the middle of the crisis when we were trying to repatriate people, we got about 58,000 emails from Canadians abroad.
Roughly 25,000 Canadians have now flown home on special charter flights, about half on foreign airlines.
We've reached out to them, sometimes directly, sometimes through their national government, and they have managed to help us in 80 countries around the world. And we would not have been able to bring the tens of thousands of Canadians we brought home without their help.
Must have been a long flight.
Ethiopian Airlines hopscotched across Africa, picking up Canadians in 10 different countries. Philippine Airlines scooped up passengers trapped on remote islands where travel was banned. And Qatar Airways has repatriated more than 4,000 people from India. But this international operation hasn't been without complaints.
3,000 per person for like one-way ticket, yes. And it's like no social distancing on the plane. It's like fully loaded plane.
Global Affairs says it's now down to the final, most complicated cases, helping Canadians stranded in remote places like the mountains in South America. But officials have said from the beginning of this crisis, they will not be able to get everyone home. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Protests erupted in Georgia today after video emerged showing the killing of an unarmed black man.
He was hunted down like an animal and killed.
Up next, why no arrests have been made more than 2 months after the shooting.
Plus, curbside shopping gets the green light from some health officials. But where does that leave businesses that used to look like this?
And one giant leap for Hollywood. Why NASA is teaming up with Tom Cruise to shoot a movie in space. We're back in 2. Welcome back. There is a growing call for criminal charges after video surfaced of a shooting in Georgia. 2 white men fatally shot a 25-year-old black man while his mom says he was just out for a jog. The case has threatened to ignite the community. Katie Simpson brings us that story and part of the video that some may find disturbing.
See the man there, jogging down the road? That's Ahmaud Arbery, and in a little over 30 seconds, he'll lay dying in the street. The camera is jostled around as Arbery approaches a stopped truck and tries to run around it. But a shot is fired as he's confronted by 2 armed men, leading to a struggle. It moves in and out of the camera's view. The 25-year-old is hit and collapses.
He was out for his daily jog and he was hunted down like an animal and killed.
I run with mud! The killing has sparked protests and demands for arrests.
Justice was not given in this case, and that we've got to correct it and correct it immediately.
The 2 men from the truck are white, a retired police officer and his son, who told investigators Arbery looked like a local robbery suspect, so they grabbed a couple of guns and followed him. They're claiming their actions were in self-defense. Make no arrest! Authorities are promising to bring the new evidence before a grand jury to see if charges are warranted, but there are calls for police to act now.
You got everything sitting right in front of you. What more do you need to make an arrest, to make this community safe?
Lawyers for Arbery's family are comparing this to the killing of Trayvon Martin, an unarmed teenager shot by a man who claimed he looked suspicious.
Like so many people advocated in Trayvon Martin's case, people should not try to take the law into their own hands.
We know what's going on.
As outrage grows, so too does division.
We've got to have very real conversations about race, and not just with our African American boys, as I have to have within my household, but as a country as a whole.
Getting evidence before a grand jury will take time. Some court proceedings in Georgia are delayed because of the pandemic. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
Well, here in Canada, a 27-year-old man is dead and an RCMP officer is in hospital after a dramatic police chase through central Alberta today.
There's a cop down. Look at it, right behind that.
The chaotic scene was caught on camera just south of Edmonton. RCMP say it started this morning when officers were shot at while responding to a firearms complaint just north of Red Deer. A female bystander was shot and taken to hospital with serious injuries. The suspect fled, but was later killed during an exchange of gunfire on a highway outside of Leduc. Alberta's police watchdog is now investigating.
It's not the time to be taking advantage of our roadways for any reason.
And this joyride down Toronto's Gardiner Expressway will cost these skateboarders hundreds of dollars. Police have now identified and fined the 3 individuals for using the usually busy downtown highway as a skate park.
Still ahead on the National, celebrating a world-famous 1-year-old.
Let's turn the page, then what happens? Let's turn the page.
Harry, Meghan, and Archie with a new family video and more to come. The story of the Royals rebranding ahead.
And in just a moment, we will have our doctors in to field a whole range of questions and concerns about how quickly we get society moving again, including this one. I don't feel safe going back to work and being around other people. Am I overreacting? Stick around.
This isn't just any parade. This is how you respond to COVID-19 in Nunavut. Or should we say to the lack of COVID-19. Nunavut's only presumed case turned out to be a false positive, and these days that is reason enough to celebrate. The territory remains the only province or territory without the virus. A sigh of relief for Nunavut and for all of Canada.
Well, tonight we've got lots of questions for our doctors, all about reopening our world. And here to lend their guidance and expertise, ER physician Dr. Taslim Nimji and infectious diseases specialist Dr. Allison McGeer. Hello to both of you. Lots of questions to get through tonight, so let's get started. Number one, Dr. McGeer, maybe this one will be for you. How long do you think until non-essential workers can go back to work?
So the first answer is a while, and the second answer is already some of them will be going back to work this week. There's going to be a gradual process where we try to allow as many people as we can to go back to work while not triggering the outbreak again. So for some people, it's going to be a matter of days. For some people, it's going to be at least weeks.
Okay. Dr. Nimji, here's the next question for you that I'd like you to field for us. I don't feel safe going back to work and being around other people. Am I overreacting?
I think the first thing is, no, you're normal, right? Like there's a lot of anxieties around this, and this is the first time we're going through something like this. I think what's important is to understand that there's a lot of measures in place before we're allowing people to go back to work. And as long as your employers are following those measures and you're following the guidance that's being given to you and keeping distances, and they're going to be staggered, shift times and things like that, those are all there to help keep you safe.
Okay. Dr. McGeer, if you've recovered from COVID-19, can you stop physical distancing?
Wouldn't that be nice? The answer is no, not at the moment. We're really hoping that people who have recovered will be protected in both the short and long term from sexual infections, but we don't know that yet. And as long as we don't know that, it's just not safe to say you can ignore social distancing.
Okay, good to keep in mind. Dr. Nimji, still on reopening, what could stores do to make sure customers are safe?
Yeah, so there's different things that they can do. One is certainly ramping up their environmental services, and that's like cleaning things down more frequently than they would have had to do before. They can also do things like, having special hours where those that might be more vulnerable could use those hours and keep the numbers of people going through their stores at those times fewer to allow, again, for not bumping into people and not being able to preserve those distances. So that's another big piece of it. And then just staggering hours. So even for the rest of us that might fit normal hours, you can limit the amount of flow going through a store. And so you're going to see a lot of that, including limiting the amount of services that you're providing when you're starting open. It's all like sort of phased approach.
But I'm noticing you didn't mention PPE, personal protective equipment.
Yeah, so there is that as well, and it'll be interesting to watch sort of in terms of what we all decide to do from a universal masking type of perspective. You're going to see a lot of use, I think, in the general public of cloth masks, which we've already seen. Whether or not that's going to come across as a directive to say you must do this, I'm not certain that that's going to be the way people go. But certainly for those that are providing services where they're going to be in closer contact, I think that's where you're going to see a lot more push to be using the appropriate types of PPE.
Time for one more quick question, Dr. McGeer, one that many provinces are grappling with. What could a safe return to school look like for students?
Well, a lot like Dr. Nimji's already been talking about. So measures that allow you to maintain social distance, additional hand washing and alcohol rub for hand hygiene, care not to allow crowding. It's of course a little harder to tell 6-year-olds to stay apart from each other than just to tell adults. So, but all the same measures, trying to maintain distancing, trying to keep things clean, making sure your hand hygiene is good.
All right, doctors, thanks so much for your time. And hey, for all of you, keep those questions coming. You can reach us on Instagram at CBC The National or send us an email at covid@cbc.ca. And as you heard Dr. Nimji say just a few moments ago, part of getting back to a new normal may increasingly include masks. So in tonight's how-to guide, keeping yours clean. How do you disinfect your mask, and how often should you do it? Well, for any kind of cloth, you can actually just throw it right in the washing machine. It's thought the warmer the water, the better, but honestly, the temperature may be less of a factor than just the simple fact that it's the soap that is dismantling the virus and washing it down the drain. It's for that reason steaming isn't thought to be as reliable. Maybe you miss a spot, or you just never get the cloth hot enough for long enough to reliably kill the virus. Another thing to keep in mind, not all homemade masks are made equal. So if you have any concerns about throwing it into a washing machine, you can always throw it in a delicates bag just to be safe, or you can wash it by hand. You just have to make sure to do a really thorough job. You want to wash it as if you know there's coronavirus on it. As for how often you wash your mask, Well, ideally, it's after every use. So just imagine in a doctor's context, that would be after every patient. But for you and me, think of it as after every outing. So you come home, you wash your hands, you wash your mask. Now, one last thing about medical grade masks. Considering they're in short supply, they're not for your use, and they're not designed for reuse either. Disinfecting them could damage them, so don't try it at home.
Companies are evaluating how to operate safely as the restrictions ease. Briar Stewart shows us an ice cream company that's back in business even though it's chosen not to reopen its stores.
This is a look at a business operating in the COVID-19 world. Vancouver's Ernest Ice Cream is pumping out 2,400 pints a day while its 4 shops remain shuttered.
We laid off 70 people right off the bat.
That's 3/4 of their employees because the biggest part of their business, the hands-on task of scooping ice cream for customers, is no longer safe. They shut down their entire retail business for a few weeks.
Everything working well with Shopify.
Then they decided to launch curbside pickup with a skeletal staff spaced out through the kitchen. Right now, they're only making half of their normal revenue.
Knowing too, we still have rent and bills that are happening at the rest of the shops that are closed. Yeah, it's definitely unnerving and a little frightening.
Even as provinces move to lift some restrictions, businesses are in limbo, trying to decide whether to open or even if it makes financial sense to do so.
We normally have projections that are pretty accurate that take us through the course of our year. We had to just throw that out the window and start from scratch.
All right, here's your ice cream.
The co-owners say they've received lots of community support.
Thank you so much.
Customers are able to pick up pints without coming into contact with anyone. But there is a lean summer ahead. Gone are the days where ice cream craving crowds spilled out onto the streets.
We have, 7 or 8 people just scooping ice cream behind the bar. So it's really hard to maintain physical distancing. So hopefully we can reopen our shops in some capacity, but I don't think it will be in the way that we've operated in years past.
Instead, they plan to keep their stores close to customers, but offer cones from the curb. It's all about adapting because right now, there's no indication of when it can be business as usual again. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Vancouver.
Next on The National, the lessons and ghosts of epidemics past. In 2014, Liberia was devastated by the Ebola virus. Next, I speak with the country's former president about how going through that trauma once, living without hugging or touching, has prepared them to do it all over again. China confirmed just 2 new COVID-19 cases today. Neither was in Wuhan province, which hasn't recorded a case now in 32 days. But in Iran, a setback, its highest daily tally of new infections since mid-April. In India, officials say tomorrow they will begin to repatriate 400,000 citizens stranded overseas. Europe has had some mixed news. Iceland has just had 2 cases in a week. The UK, where more than 30,000 people have died, says it may ease lockdown measures on Monday. Though Spain today re-upped its state of emergency for 2 more weeks. And then there's Africa. The continent is weeks behind Europe and North America. To date, its 54 countries together have seen fewer cases and fewer deaths than Canada. Margaret Evans explains why fear is now growing across it.
Africa, a continent as vast as it is varied, now fighting common cause against COVID-19, an enemy that preys on frailty, and there is plenty of that. In South Sudan, the virus is a new predator on an already crowded field. Hunger leads the pack, with half the population relying on food aid, many living in crowded camps. Hospitals in rural areas are few and far between, and until last week, there were reportedly only 4 ventilators in the entire country. Plagues of locusts and widespread flooding further complicate the picture. The World Food Programme has set up 3 global humanitarian hubs like this one to get aid where it's needed most.
even the best of times, the situation in this region is dire. The whole region is just too fragile to even start responding it in any manner, like China, like Europe.
This is Matere, an informal settlement in teeming Nairobi. Milian Ojiwa grew up here. He says if people have to choose between food and a mask, food will win. So he got some sewing workshops going and is handing them out for free.
When we get to a stage where we will be having 100 deaths in the community, the only thing they'll supply us will be the body bags.
South Africa was one of the first countries to act against the virus, and the most decisively. Now it's easing its lockdown.
The Department of Health is here.
Fighting HIV has given healthcare workers an advantage. Africa's Centers for Disease Control and Prevention aims to distribute 1 million test kits across the continent over the next month. A tall order and just a beginning. Margaret Evans, CBC News, London.
Just as COVID-19 is these days, a few years ago, it was Ebola that was the Earth's most frightening virus. The country of Liberia bore its horrible brunt then. So how are its people managing now? And what can we learn from a place that's been through what we're enduring now?
All right, let's stand together to fight Corona.
This COVID awareness song is meant to be memorable for Liberians. It helps that the man with the mic is the country's president.
Let's stand together to fight this deadly disease now.
Pleading for caution, one of the few tools in a place where most homes are without clean water. Another tool, the ghost of Ebola.
Just about the only thing it seems that will stop the exponential spread of this virus is...
In 2014, Ebola killed thousands there and changed everyone. To not touch or mourn their dead together scarred all. Thank you very much for making time for us, Madam President. Then Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was president. She's still haunted by being forced to live without embraces, can barely believe her fellow Liberians have to go through it again.
When they're denied that, in a way, you take a bit out of their souls. They become robots. They become less than what they are.
Trauma echoing. COVID-19 has killed fewer than 24 people in a country of 5 million, but it's just beginning.
This time, even more difficult than the previous one. A little bit of fear that we're not really prepared to be able to handle this.
More difficult than Ebola? That's hard to fathom, but still without enough doctors or nurses or the right testing capacity, the fear is infections are being missed.
There's also anxiety as to whether our reporting can be relied upon, given the insufficiency of our data.
In 2014, as many Liberians died of malaria and TB and other diseases as Ebola because they couldn't get medical care. The fear of that rises again, as does one about vaccines, after an early suggestion from French scientists that vaccines be tested on the continent.
Africa has been a guinea pig in so many cases that there's a general resistance to any time one say Africa is the place to get this tested.
The suggestion was shut down fast. The anxiety continues. So little of the genetic information about COVID-19 comes from cases on the continent that the worry is a vaccine won't be as effective there. Yet for all there is to be afraid of, Sirleaf still believes there's room to hope.
I think we'll get through this. I think we're adjusting already to a different way of life.
She and Liberia have been through the unthinkable once, are poised now to do it again. Still ahead on the National, a bit of good news, really. The Fort McMurray couple who threw caution to the wind and got married in a flood. But first.
Wow. A tribute from artist Banksy to healthcare workers, unveiled today at a hospital in England. It shows a little boy tossing out his old superheroes in favor of a new one in this pandemic, a nurse.
Such a nice reward for all the staff that have been working really hard throughout this.
Painting for Saints will eventually be sold, with proceeds going back to the hospital, but before the financial boost, a morale boost for weary workers.
Just the proudness of it, the actual realising that we are thought of and respected.
Well, it's been just over a month since Prince Harry and Meghan Markle quit their royal duties. Now they're celebrating their son's first birthday in their new home and attempting a major rebrand while they're at it. Kim Brunhuber has that story.
For Save With Stories, we're going to read Duck Rabbit.
For a couple defined by risk, this is as safe as it comes. After all, who could object to raising money for coronavirus relief on baby Archie's first birthday? But the Duke and Duchess of Sussex didn't forsake Vancouver Island for LA just to make videos for social media.
My sources tell me that they are absolutely being shopped for projects, and they absolutely have price tags associated to those projects.
The protectiveness of their young.
Meghan Markle's first project, narrating a Disney documentary about elephants. But the next chapter, announced this week, promises to be more controversial. A book about the couple that could only have been written with their say-so.
The number one thing you want to do in PR is define yourself, particularly before someone else defines you.
Next, some speculate they could land a development deal with a major streaming company, but as producers, not actors.
Sitcoms and keeping up with the Sussexes, a la the Kardashians, ain't going to happen just yet.
Others insist anything's possible for a couple marketing themselves as royal disruptors.
And in order to compete in an environment that is constantly in flux is to take risks.
But for an institution built on tradition, there is a fine line between disruption and destruction.
They are entering down a road that could be a bloodbath to the reputation of the royal family and to really, for the first time, put it out for sale.
Experts say in the post-COVID world, a risk-averse Hollywood may bank on proven veterans. Here in LA, Meghan and Harry are likely not even the biggest stars on their block.
So they're going to have to move to the back of the line for a while.
The royal couple may have to do something they're unaccustomed to doing. Wait. Kim Brunhuber, CBC News, Los Angeles.
Next on The National, consider them lovers in a dangerous time. They didn't think their I-do's would look like this. Why this Fort McMurray couple decided to wade to the altar. But first. 3, 2, 1, action!
Tom Cruise has taken a risk or two to get that perfect shot. That's not a stunt double scaling the world's tallest building. He broke an ankle filming this chase scene.
I'm supposed to have that level of impact hitting the wall. I just put my foot out, tried to soften the impact. I knew instantly it was broken.
And now the Mission Impossible star is preparing for his most daring role yet, the first Hollywood movie shot in space. And a big opportunity for NASA. An administrator tweeting, NASA is excited to work with Tom Cruise on a film aboard the space station, adding he hopes it'll inspire a new generation of engineers and scientists.
What an incredible sight.
And interestingly, Cruise should have a pretty good idea of what he's getting into. In 2002, he narrated an IMAX documentary about the building of the ISS. No word yet, though, on when precisely Cruise will take his career to the next frontier.
For Brianne Shacklady and Randy Ringheim, it's been a rough couple of years. They met during the Fort McMurray wildfires 4 years ago. Now the flooding there has claimed their newly bought home. So, covered in mud, surrounded by floodwater, they decided this was the moment to find some much-needed joy. Their wedding is our moment too.
We just didn't want to wait after everything we've been going through.
Randy and Brianne were going to get married next year, but when they went to visit their ruined house on Saturday, they decided they wanted to tie the knot right away.
Okay, so COVID, nobody gather, everyone stand apart.
They lined up a wedding officiant last minute and drove out to their flooded property.
We are gathered here today to witness the formal joining of Randy Ole Ringheim and Brianne Victoria Shacklady.
Some family members watched the live stream from afar. A few friends and neighbors came, and finally,
I do through fire and flood. Brianne, I give you this ring. String.
They didn't have time for rings, so green string did the trick.
I accept this string as a symbol of your love and commitment.
Good for them. Boy, are they good sports. So they didn't just meet 4 years ago. They fell in love. Brianne's rental property burned down then. So they rebuilt their savings. They bought their dream home, and you saw what happened to that. These two are amazing.
Gosh, and you know, who knows if down the road they'll ever decide to do this ceremony again in a different way. But I reckon they won't need to. I figure the memory of this one will serve them just fine for an awfully long time. That's The National for this Wednesday, May 6th. Have a good night.